You know, sometimes you have to break the rules to get the respect. Sometimes you have to get the respect by breaking the rules. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Kneecap, the newest film from director Rich Peppiatt. So Kneecap is a film that was a Sundance hit in 2024. It follows three individuals, and this is kind of a semi-true story of three individuals who basically were wanting to speak their own native language. And because of how culture and society and things of a different ilk want to change the world and want to change it to a more unified world, but not a lot of people want that. A lot of people want to be able to speak Gaelic or be able to speak their native language. And so these three individuals, who are played by the actual Kneecap members of the rap group, who are Chara, Móglaí and DJ Próvaí, they basically started a rap group to not only kind of start a movement, but to keep their own native language in check and intact. And not only did they become famous, but they became a cultural icon for Ireland for what they were doing, but not without pushback from the government and the police force and everybody on a specific side who really was in it for their own gain, I guess you could say. These three individuals were trying to change things like NWA in a lot of respects when it comes to the idea of like a movement or a cultural icon in a lot of respects. So they became very, very famous, trying to justify the fact that they want to speak their own language. That's what this movie's kind of technically about. But it also follows Michael Fassbender, who was the father of two of these individuals, and the simple fact that, he was part of the IRA militia during the Troubles, and he kind of went into hiding because the police force was looking for him. And basically, it is kind of like how these individuals kind of work in a world where there are rebels in a lot of respects, and that's what this film Kneecap is doing. It's also giving us kind of an insight to who Kneecap is and how they became who they were. Now, it's definitely understandable if you don't know who Kneecap is, because I sure didn't until it was a Sundance hit. I didn't know much about this group. It's a simple fact that they aren't really as well known outside of Ireland than they are in Ireland, to be fairly honest. They're not like a U2 or anything like that. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think they need their thing, or a movie like this, to kind of push themselves out into the open to make them a little more popular. But because I've never heard of them doesn't mean that they're not influential and they're not culturally impactful when it comes to what they were doing. It's just, unfortunately, it's just the way it is when it comes to other nations, like bands and groups and stuff like that. It takes that spark till eventually we'll see, what happens. But Kneecap was a movie I heard a lot of great things about. It's a movie that, a lot of people are going to put in their top 10 from what I hear. A lot of people who saw it at Sundance really recommended it. So I'm all about, movies that deal with like rock groups and rap groups that are true stories about how they change cultures and change ideas. I like movies that just deal with musical acts in general, because I think they're fascinating and fun. I think the, Still Out of Compton movie was a lot of fun. I think, any movie that deals with a band of sorts that is a true band, I really just want to see, because I like how they are very culturally impactful and change the way we view society in a lot of respects. So when it comes to my honest review of this movie, how I truly feel, I think this is honestly one of my favorite films of the year. And I think that is because I think this is a very honest movie. I think it's a very thoughtful movie. I think it's a movie that may not be my cup of tea when it comes to music, but I think what they're doing, how they portray themselves, how they act towards the culture that they are trying to protect, I think it's a really powerful thing. And I think they do a real nice job of portraying those situational awareness and stuff like that. I think it's a movie that has a lot of great messages, but also is a movie that is willing to push the boundaries, is willing the movie to be chaotic, and it's a movie willing to just kind of be what it is. It is the group and what they do and how they act. And there's nothing wrong with that. It really shows the emotional intent of what they are trying to do. But it also has fun with it. These three individuals come from a world that is, down on their society. They come from a very poorish area. They come from a society where they have to protect themselves and they have to go up against the grain. And it really is a fun movie to watch, an entertaining movie to watch, but it's also a movie that invokes a lot of feeling when it comes to what they're trying to say and how they're trying to say it. They just do it in a very chaotic nature, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of groups that kind of push the boundaries of what they're trying to say and do. And it's pretty amazing that these three individuals who are known for rappers, this is, you know, because it's called Kneecap and it's based off their group, it's their first movie that they've ever been in, and they do a pretty competent job for first-time actors. Are they the best you've ever seen? No, because that's not what they're doing. It's a movie just about the nature of what was going on and how everything was being portrayed. So adding people like Josie Walker, who plays the detective, the main detective in the movie, and Michael Fassbender, who plays the father, and, you know, these other characters, Jessica Reynolds, and so many people that have acted before, it allows that balance of creativity that these three individuals can do the chaotic, crazy stuff that they did, but also interact with actual actors. So therefore there's a balance there that is actually kind of weighted and does a really nice job. It's just kind of a shame that I don't think this movie will get a lot of box office pull because of the nature of what it is. I think it's a movie that will hit a lot of people pretty hard when it comes to the fact that, you know, some people really see a progressive nature to the world, and some people don't believe in what they were doing. But then there are people like myself, and there are people that'll come along and just watch this movie and just be in awe of like three individuals that are, you know, from a particular side of the world who will found a way to speak their mind, and they did it in such an interesting, fascinating way. But it's nice to see that the movie doesn't shy away from them speaking in the language that they want to speak in, that allows to be, you know, provocative, and allows you to see and hear, not necessarily understand every word that's being portrayed, but it allows to see form of communication is very important in a lot of respects, and I truly appreciate it for that particular purpose. This is also a movie that once again pushes the boundaries. It's what they do, it's who they are, and it's a movie that really is just kind of a remarkable film for a lot of aspects. I really don't have any problems with this film. Maybe it's a little too cliched, a little too conventional, but most up and coming bands, or bands that have to struggle to get with their sound and their voice out, can feel a little too cliched and a little too conventional. So therefore I can't hate on it for being another movie based on a musical act. It's just the nature of how it is. And so therefore I think this is just, it's not a perfect movie. I think it is a little kind of amateurish in a lot of respects. I do think, like I said, I think the main crew, the main cast, the main rappers do a really nice job, and they're funny and entertaining and very charismatic and charming, but they are a little wet behind the ears when it comes to the acting quality, and it shows. But overall it's pretty great, to be fairly honest. It's nothing to worry about when it comes to this film. And overall, that's really, if I had any qualms, that's really it. I mean, it's just a movie that shows three people who kind of changed the culture of where they're from, and how they did it with like reverence and justification. So overall, I highly recommend Kneecap. I think it's a fantastic film. It's not going to be a film for everyone because of the nature of what it's trying to do, but I think if you like these types of films, if you like the ones that are, you know, willing to go above and beyond, or willing to sacrifice themselves to get their message out, I think it's a perfectly great, one of my favorite movies of the year, to be fairly honest. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that is going to be my take on Kneecap, which is now going to be in theaters very, very soon, but also look for it on VOD eventually. There you go. Anyways, comments below. Did you like this movie if you've seen it? What's your favorite kind of movie based on a musical act? That type of thing. So let me know. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell. Top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.